Okay, we are good to go.
Good morning and Hare Krishna. Happy Thanksgiving. And in honor of Thanksgiving, I picked a lecture from 1973, November, called Hog Happiness. I assume that hogs are happy on Thanksgiving because they're not the subject. So let's see what Prabhupada has to say about hog happiness.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Hog happiness ki jai. And we're gonna please take notes, dear devotees, because we are going to quiz you on the subject of the class and what has been said. Right, Adipusha Prabhu? Yes, good. There's no audio for some reason.
Can you hear it, Prabhu?
No, I can't hear. Can't hear.
Hold on, let me check the sound settings.
We saw Srila Prabhupada's lotus feet. It was very nice.
When you share the screen, Jeffrey, you just have to make sure that you're clicking with the audio included. There's an option when you're going to share it.
Okay, let me stop. Yeah. Yeah, yes. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you very much for your coming here, taking so much trouble to participate in this Krishna consciousness movement. And I shall simply try to draw your attention about the importance of this movement. Importance of this movement is this, that we do not know what is the aim of life. The modern civilization all over the world, especially in the Western world, and nobody knows what is the actual problem and what is the aim of life. That is explained in the Bhagavad Gita. The Bhagavad Gita says the real problem is janma mrityu jara vyadhi dukkha dosanu darsana. That birth, death, old age and disease. These are the problems. If you take birth, then you will have to die. Anyone who takes birth, he must have to die. And so long between birth and death, there is old age and disease. Actually, these are the problems. So far, we are concerned, living entities, every one of us, that is described in the Bhagavad Gita, na jayate namriyate va kadachi. The living entity is never born, never dies. Nitya sasatmaya purana na hannate hannamane sarire. The living entity is eternal, ever existed, and very old. And na hannate hannamane sarire. It does not die after the annihilation of this body. But the modern civilization, they are thinking that this body we have got somehow or other, a lump of matter, and so long we have got this body, let us enjoy life, sense gratification. This is atheistic theory. In our country, there were atheists also, just like Charvak Muni. According to his philosophy, he said, Rinam Kritta Dhritam Vivek. Because in our country, India, life is enjoyable when we get to eat too much ghee. Pakki khana. That is enjoyable. Just like in Western countries, if they can eat, if they can drink more, and that is life enjoyable. In our country, of course. So, Rinam Kritta Dhitam Vivek. If somebody says that I have no money, the Charvak Muni says that you take loan from your friend and purchase ghee and enjoy life. Rinam Kritta Dhitam Vivek. Javat jive sukham live. So long you live happy. Why make big borrow stick and live happy? No, I shall be responsible. I shall have to pay next life. Charvak Muni says, no, don't bother about next life. Bhasmi bhutasya dehasya kuta punaragamana bhavet. Your body will be burnt in the crematorium and that's finished. That's all. This foolishness is there, that this life, we do not know that this human form of life we have got by the evolutionary process, going through so many lives. Just like in our present life, we can understand that I have come to this body, old body, through child's body, boy's body, youth's body, in this way. That is explained in the Bhagavad Gita. It is not manufactured. Dehinasmin tatha dehi kaumara jovanam jara tatha dehantara prapti dhirastatunami. You have to accept this. Dehantara prapti. From one body to another. What is my childhood body? That is gone. What is my boyhood body? That is gone. Where is my youthhood body? That is gone. Not only for me, for everyone. There is past, present and future. Similarly, when this body will be gone, I will get another body. Where is the difficulty to understand? Tatha dehantara prapti dhirastatanam. Dhira, because we are not sober. There are two classes of men, dhira and adhira. Dhira means sober, thinking, thoughtful. And adhira means restless. So, with restless brain, it is difficult. But, if you have got sober brain, then there is no difficulty to understand that I am eternal. I was in the child's body. I was in the baby's body. I was in the boy's body. I was in the young man's body. Now I have got a different body. I am living asmin dehe, dehin asmin yatha dehe. It is very easy to understand. But Krishna said, dhirastatanamiyati. Those who are sober, they can understand. So, people cannot understand, that means the modern civilization is not sober. It is just like cats and dogs. You cannot make a cat and dog sober to understand the philosophy of life. They have degraded so much. That is described in the Shastra. Jasyatma buddhi kunapeti dhatuke. Atma buddhi. Thinking I am this body. I am American. I am Indian. I am Brahman. I am black, I am white, I am fat, I am thin, I am this. No. You are not this body at all. That is knowledge. That is knowledge. Knowledge begins when you understand that you are not this body. That is the beginning of knowledge. Otherwise, I am this body, this knowledge is there in the cats and dogs also. The dog also jumping because he is thinking I am very nice dog, a nice cat. So, Shastra therefore says, Jasyatma buddhi kunapeti dhatuke. This body is a bag of three elements, kapha, pitta, vayu, according to Ayurveda system. This physiological condition, anatomical condition of this body is made of kapha, pitta, vayu. So it is a bag of kapha, pitta, vayu, or flesh, bones, blood, urine, stool, and mucus. If you dissect this body, you will find. Do you mean to say combination of these things can make a life so nice brain? If you are so competent, then take these ingredients. Bones, flesh, they are easily available in the slaughterhouse. Make a good bread. But that is not possible. They simply speak, but it is not possible. Therefore, this body is not the moving spirit soul. That is different. Therefore, Shastra says, Jasyatma buddhi kunapeti dhatuke sadhik kalatra visubho vaijyati. And as soon as you take this body, that I am this body, then in bodily relation, because a woman has got bodily relation, she is my wife, and the children born out of the womb of that woman, that is my children. Sadhik kalatradisu jasyat buddhi kunapeti dhatuke sadhik kalatradisu bhoma ijjadhi. Bhoma means land where he lives or where this body is produced. That is worshipable. That is called nationality. Bhoma ijjadhi jasyat buddhi kunapeti dhatuke sadhik kalatradisu bhoma ijjadhi. Jat tirtha buddhi salive na karichi. And tirtha, holy place, just like people go to Vrindavan, Haridwar, Salile, they take bath in the Ganges and the Jamuna, and they think that now we have finished our tirtha. No, tirtha is not that. Tirtha means we have to find out sober person to take instruction from. So people who are not interested to the sober man and lives like this, that I am this body and the bodily productions, relations, they are my own men, and if I go to holy place, take bath, and then come back, no, Shastra says no. Jat tirtha buddhi salile na karichit janesu abhigyesu. You must approach abhigya person. That is the meaning of pilgrimage. As the Vedas says, tad vijnanatham sa gurumeva vigachet sutriyam brahmanistha. We must find out a sober man or guru so that he can instruct you, he can deliver you from ignorance of life. So you'll find in this Bhagavad Gita, when there was talks going on between Arjuna and Krishna, friendly talks, Arjuna was speaking, let them enjoy this kingdom. I don't want to fight with my own men. That was his decision. Krishna said, no, this is not your duty. You are a Kshatriya. Now you are in the battlefield, you must fight. In this way ordinary topics were going on. But when Arjuna saw it very difficult to understand whether I shall fight or not fight, he accepted Krishna as Guru.
Jai, thank you. Thank you, Jai, for your clear Prabhu. Okay, it's time to reflect, dear devotees. Adipusha Prabhu, would you like to start and set an example?
It's funny, I was just reading Prabhupada last night. If you're a speaker, if you're echoing, the same point that he started with today, he said, he was quoting from Sri Upanishad, that this world is perfect and complete. And then he said, how can we understand if it's perfect and complete? It seems like there's so many problems. And then he said, the reason is you don't know the purpose. The world is actually fulfilling its purpose perfectly. So when we begin to inquire, Atato Brahma Jignasa, what is the reason for this world? What is the purpose of this world? What is the nature of the spiritual dimension? And then we begin to understand, yeah, Krishna's doing it perfectly. Even though it seems like there's imperfection, actually it's all an arrangement for us to learn and grow.
Yeah, Srila Prabhupada says it's violence. It's violence. Birth, death, old age, disease is violence. That is kind of
This is the real
written
problem.
into the code of the material world. And it's inevitable, Srila Prabhupada says. Yeah, so what are the real problems of life? Srila Prabhupada talked about that in the beginning. Would anyone like to speak? Please unmute yourself. What are the real problems?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
What's your problem, Jeffrey Prabhu?
No, it's interesting. To Adi's point, Krishna has arranged it perfectly, and it's evidenced, I think, to us when we have these moments where it's, oh, I was reading this last night, and then this morning we're talking about it, or Krishna reveals himself to us in a way that we can understand, and I think part of that is linking these ideas together. And so, we don't understand the goal of life. So if we break life down to the problems, birth, suffering, old age, and death, and we understand that those are the problems of life, but the actual truth is that life is eternal and ever existent, as Prabhupada says. And then so we understand this with a sober brain. And then he takes us on this nice little path and says, well, if you understand this with a sober brain and you want to understand more, then you seek out a spiritual master who has a sober brain to take instruction from. And last night, I was listening to a lecture by Keshava Swami, and he was talking about Bhagavad Gita 440, but ignorant and faithless persons who doubt the revealed scriptures do not attain God consciousness. They fall down. For the doubting soul, there is happiness neither in this world nor in the next. So if we doubt that truth, then we don't know the perfection of the arrangement that Adi was speaking about, and then fall down and fall victim to the problems of life. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Jeffrey Prabhu. Does anyone know the Sanskrit word, the Sanskrit term for sober person? What's the word? And what's the verse that Srila Prabhupada quoted that had that word?
Dhira.
Dhira, yes, dhira. And what's the full verse?
Dhirastachanamuyati.
It's not the full verse.
Oh.
Tehinosmi. Who knows the verse?
Kumar Archamano, Dharma Bhagavatam.
Hare Krishna. It's
Paul knows it.
2:13. Dehinosmin yata dehe kamaram yovanam jara tata dehantaras praptir dirastatra namuchati.
Excellent. Paul Babaji ki jai. Wonderful. Thank you. Wow. Bhima Prabhu has his hand up.
Haribol, thank you very much for playing Srila Prabhupada. It's just the sound of his voice. We talk a lot about Sabda Brahman, or just the vibration, the sound vibration, transcendental. Prabhupada's surety, his lack of any doubt whatsoever, comes through simply in the vibration of his voice, and that's why it's very important for us to listen to his lectures. After a while, as time went on, and he realized the Western mind could not hold on to, let us say, a long, linear philosophical discussion, as he shortened his lectures up to 15 minutes long, 20 minutes long, always ending in chant Hare Krishna, or simply learn to love Krishna, etc. About the troubles of this world, And myself, as everyone here has heard, tends to be troubled by the world and not accept Om Purnam, as Adi Purush said, not accept that everything is perfect, that what Krishna is doing is for everyone's good, that not a blade of grass moves without Krishna's consent, that somehow, despite the horrors that we may be seeing, that somehow Krishna is working some greater purpose, that, as he says in the Bhagavad Gita, everyone follows my path. Do we have the Sanskrit or just the English? Does anybody, perhaps Prabhu, who just quoted from Bhagavad Gita, everyone follows my path?
Yeah, let's see if Paul is for real. Let's see.
We're still in the beginning stages of memorizing verses, so that just happened to be one of the verses that we've already memorized.
Nice. That's very inspiring. I think it's, if I'm not mistaken, it's as one surrenders unto me, I reward them accordingly, and everyone is following my path in all respects. But I don't have the Sanskrit.
No, I didn't need the Sanskrit, but I just wanted the whole English. I myself can only remember one line. Anyways, I'd like to take a moment. It's 5 minutes long, not even 5 minutes, 3 minutes. I would like to read something amazingly enough that I read this morning, and I'm unsure of the source. But let me just read it because it pertains directly to what we're talking about. It's called The Falling Snow. And this is an expression, a Taoist expression. The snowflakes fall slowly to the ground, each flake in its proper place, is a famous Taoist expression. It's beautifully expressed with the inherent perfection in the design of the world and the macro events taking place within it, even though we are not able to perceive it from our material perspective. With our incomplete understanding, we find faults with the situations we are in. We complain and grumble about them, wish to run away from them, and hold them responsible for our misery. But this is very important here. Here's Krishna. But the enlightened souls inform us that the world was created by God. The world created by God, Krishna, is perfect in every way, and both good and evil come to us for a divine purpose. They are all arranged for our spiritual evolution, to push us ever upward in our journey toward perfection. Those who understand this secret are never disturbed in difficult circumstances, be them personal, social, or worldly. Always facing them, here's the word dhira, facing them with serenity and tranquility. The Chandogya Upanishad explains why earthquakes, hurricanes, cyclones, floods, and typhoons are created in the world of God as a part of the grand scheme of things. It states that God deliberately creates difficult situations to prevent people from slowing down in their journey of spiritual progress. When people become complacent, a natural calamity comes along, forces the souls to strain their abilities to cope with it, which ensures their progress. Their faith is strengthened and their progress is assured. However, it must be noted that the progress being talked about here is not the external increase of material luxuries, but the internal unfoldment of the glorious divinity of the soul over a continuum of lifetime after lifetime. So I just read that because I read it this morning prior to this class and because we are talking about such things. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Bhima Prabhu. Yeah, we see that.
Can you share in the chat where you got that text from? Just because
I wish I could. I wrote this down in 2016,
Oh,
and I quoted the Taoist. I wrote it because I'm a sort of like advanced soul who's able to write things. When I don't have a source, I've written so many notes in my life. When I don't have a source, or if I haven't put it in quotation marks, sometimes I read something, I go, I can't believe I wrote that. But no, I didn't write this. Obviously, this is not my rhythm of writing. I will try to find. I'm sure if I copy it and paste it into Google, the source will come up. So I'll try to do that, and I'll put that in the notes. Thank you for asking. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Bhima Prabhu. Yeah, in Vaishnava circles, we want to know the pramana, the source. Nobody gets away with anything. Even great souls like Bhima Prabhu. Venetia has her hand up. Venetia.
Hare Krishna, good morning. I just wanted to thank Jeffrey Ackler for that really inspiring. I mean, everything Srila Prabhupada says is inspiring, but it was so apropos. I liked was it Happy Hogs? We didn't get to the Happy Hog part, but I was feeling it's very apropos for Thanksgiving. I feel like
happiness.
Hog happiness. Jeffrey is, as always, a very subtle preacher. And I thought it was very fitting for Thanksgiving, because we hear that the problem is when we identify with our physical body. And then we think that the aim of life is to satisfy that physical body. And like he said, like Srila Prabhupada said, and whether that's eating too much ghee or drinking too much alcohol, depending on which culture you're in, it all leads to the same problem. And I think it's very fitting and very beautiful that we'll be fasting today. And I also throw it out to the group and like to think about also what he talked about, the problem of identifying with our body, the skin disease, as he sometimes maybe even almost harshly says, that we think that our families are ours, and maybe over-identify with that physical relationship. And so on a day like Thanksgiving, that's very beautiful, that's about food and about family, while we're fasting and trying not to fall into the mistakes of bodily identification, to think how we can still be connected and grateful while staying attuned to our spirit selves and spirit souls, so we remain sober and not bewildered. And I like very much, Jeffrey, the problem statement that you've set up there, sort of the tension, because it's not just about judging and thinking, oh, this path is superior and these hogs are just eating and falling into the trap of material identification. And so how do we remain connected and yet sober? Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Venetia. Very good remembrance of what Srila Prabhupada mentioned in class, by the way. Thank you. Adipusha Prabhu, unmute yourself first. It should be a reflex. Unmute, mute.
Yeah, you can hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about the inappropriateness of bodily identification with family members. And the way Srila Prabhupada explains it is, it's not just these people are my family, but we have a broader connection, samasabeshu bhuteshu, to all living entities. The Brahman is concerned with the entire civil society. Prabhupada was addressing the entire civilization of the planet. It's really interesting. And sometimes mischievously we mistake. I made a big mistake one time. There was a little girl at Nirvrindavan named Joyful. She's about 4 years old. She was in front of the temple, and her father had a little tape ministry shop near the front of the RVC building. So right inside the temple, on the way in, there's a gift shop with sweets. So Joyful, she would say, Peter, can I get a quarter so I can go get some burfi, So he would give her some Lakshmi. She would go in and buy some candy, burfi, milk sweets. And then she'd ask again. He'd go, no, you already got, no. So she's a cute little girl in this little skirt, and she was seeing the guests coming, so many guests come in and out of that building. So she started doing her own form of Sankirtan. People would go, oh, you're a little cute little girl. And she'd go, can you give me quarters so I can get some milk sweets? So she started collecting money, And so I saw her doing that. I was thinking, she actually understands that she has money, has luxury, she can buy candy, So one day, trying to, in my own immature way, trying to challenge the bodily concept of life and family attachment, Joyful, who's 4 years old, had her Mother Janaki, had another baby. And the little infant was sitting in the back of the temple room on the floor. There was mothers making garlands. And then the mothers went away, and just Joyful was there with the little infant. So I said, Joyful, is that your little sister? She said, yeah, that's my sister. I said, Joyful. I reached into my pocket, I pulled out a quarter. I said, listen to me. If I give you this quarter, can I have that baby? And she was like, no. So then I pulled out a whole handful of change. I said, Joyful, I'll give you all this Lakshmi if you give me that baby. I was trying to playfully show, I was telling this at a darshan with a bunch of devotees there, and to try to see the foolish attachment to bodily concept of life and family. And I said, Joyful, if I give you all this change, can I have that baby? And she really thought about it. No. And everybody was laughing because everybody knows the little girl and everything. And then Kirtanand Maharaj said to me, Adi, you're evil. To try to tempt a little girl to give away her baby sister. But there is a material attachment to just my family, but spiritually we have a broader family attachment for the benefit of everyone. I don't know if that's a contribution to the class or not, but I hope so. I guess you had to be there to see how funny it was. Hare Krishna, glory to Prabhupada.
Thank you, Haripusha. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Would anyone else like to reflect on what has been said by Srila Prabhupada so far?
I just wanted to say that the the link is in the notes. It was actually from a Bhagavad Gita purport, not from Prabhupada, but from someone in Lord Chaitanya's lineage. I can't remember the name of.
I looked that up. It's
okay.
Some Swami, some other Swami, but he's quoting from Chandogya Upanishad, so we can trust him. And then Taoist statement also, Taoism. So we got you got it, Bhima Prabhu. Thank you.
That's right.
Ananda,
I got it.
Yeah, thank you. Ananda Manjari.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, I want to reflect the mood of Srila Prabhupada, which at times can be surprising, and it's also very humbling and encouraging, which is his trust and strength in propagating the mission and belief that actually we should do our best to not take another birth and to not take another body, that with every single of our actions in this life and with our adherence to the principles and chanting, like this is actually our ticket back home, back to Godhead, and that we don't need to take another birth. And I find that to be like really inspiring and again humbling to just see that this amazing teacher and a perfected soul is so empowered and wants to also give empowerment to his disciples and his followers so much that this is our last life. And I just read a quote by Aindra Prabhu, who at times is very strong in this mood, and I want to read this to you. At the end of the day, unless one's adherence to Daivi Varnashram Dharma in some way promotes a fondness for hearing, chanting, and remembering Radha Krishna's Madhurya Lila Guna Rupa Nama, which is the pastimes, the form, and the name, unless it enables one to become cognizant of one's eternal constitutional relationship with the Lord of Raj. Moreover, unless all such external psychophysical bodily regulation actually helps to bring one to the point of love of Godhead on a fully self-realized platform, then Shrama Eva Hi Kevalam, the whole affair is simply so much useless endeavor, leading only to the formation of another material body. Let everyone immediately get off the material platform and focus exclusively on the eternal culture of unalloyed devotion, bearing very little, if any, concern for the rules and regulations of Varnashram Dharma. Of course, here it's like I'm not going to question also that Srila Prabhupada really wanted the Varnashram Dharma to be established, but the point of the quote is to just really remind us that actually we can finish our business here and attain perfection of service. And it's not even to not take another body, it's to actually truly please Krishna as we are supposed to. So that's what I want to share. Thank you.
Thank you, Ananda Manjari. Thank you for bringing that urgency. Surrendering to Krishna doesn't take, it's all, I mean, in one sense, it's a gradual process. We shouldn't take it cheaply or immaturely, prematurely. At the same time, Krishna consciousness is just one sincere prayer away, one act of surrender away. So it's both urgent and gradual. Thank you very much for that, Ananda Manjari. Okay, would anyone else would like to share their takeaway from Srila Prabhupada's class? Hug happiness. Any realizations on that subject? Damodar Priya.
Hare Krishna. I just thought that since today in the United States we're celebrating Thanksgiving, and I know that the holiday itself has a lot of like negative background and connotations. There's like millions of animals that are killed for people to kind of put their flesh on the plate. However, if we just look at the name of the holiday, I know that Rukmini Walker, what I heard is giving class next week, which I was very surprised to hear, so I'm excited about that. But she always says that one of the easiest ways to connect to Krishna is by giving thanks and to be in a state of gratitude. And that, and she says, gratitude makes space for Krishna's grace. So when we can look around and we can be grateful for the thing, not just the things that we have, but the people in our lives, like family members, whether we recognize them as being Krishna's family or just our family. But if we can be in that space of gratitude, of understanding like all these things that are around us, all the people that are around us, the air that we're breathing, like the food that we're eating, it's all through Krishna's grace. And just taking the time to be grateful and to thank and to have that conversation with Krishna and to have that conversation with others, that's a really great way for us to kind of turn away from seeing everything as material. Because I had asked her, she does a Krishna book reading through her Patreon, and I had asked her, I was like, how can we like turn to Krishna more and not let fear or materialistic endeavors keep us away from that? And she said that actually nothing inherently is material, because it's only when we forget that it belongs to Krishna and that it's connected to Krishna that it turns quote unquote material. But essentially everything is Krishna, right? Like every atom has Krishna in it. And then you look in the atom and it has Krishna, and you look into Krishna's mouth and what's there? The whole universe. And then you go into the atoms of the universe and what's there? Krishna. And it just goes on and on and on and on. So yeah, but the point of it is gratitude. And I just wanted to share that because that's a really deceptively easy practice for us to do that can bring us back into kind of Krishna's grace.
Thank you, Damodar Priya. Very beautiful, as always. Jeffrey Ekler Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Jumping on to what Damodar Priya was saying, in a class I was listening to this week, it was said, in a mood of gratitude, then one can see the reflections of Krishna's mercy. So if we situate ourselves into this mood of thankfulness, and to Damodar Priya's point, seeing Krishna in everything, then we can know that everything that's going on is Krishna's mercy. Furthering that point with the concepts that Prabhupada said today about the problems of life. The devotee lives with pain, but does not live in pain, and that's the function of that gratitude, is that you may have suffering, you may have reversal in your life, but when you live in a situated position of gratitude, then all of that becomes Krishna's mercy, an opportunity for education, an opportunity to further your devotional service, an opportunity to honor the spiritual master. And Keshava Swami said in his class on gratitude that the one who honors the mission of the spiritual master pays the deepest gratitude to the spiritual master. So appropriate that we're listening to Grandfather Prabhupada and giving thanks to the ultimate spiritual master on Thanksgiving. Story about Prabhupada is a devotee asked him, what should we do to be thankful? And Prabhupada said, you should chant Hare Krishna. And he paused for a moment and he said, you should feel obliged to chant Hare Krishna. So we really do owe everything to Krishna and ultimately to Prabhupada for showing us that path. Haribol.
Thank you, Jeffrey Prabhu. Where's that line from? You should feel obliged to chant Hare Krishna, from Prabhupada?
It's from like a morning chat that he had. I forget.
Cool. That's a
source.
nice one-liner. I'm taking it. That's
you
nice.
should feel obliged. I like it.
Yeah. Thank you, Jeffrey Prabhu. Okay, would anyone else like to speak? Yeah, the best thing to show our gratitude is to join the mission of the Guru, take up some responsibility in the Guru's mission. That's the best. Yeah, I like how Krishna consciousness is very practical. It's very esoteric. It's full of emotion, but it's also very practical, very applicable. We know what to do. We've been given things to do. We've been given service. It's a gift. Any other takeaways, please? Bhima Prabhu?
I can't once again remember where this quote comes from. Probably be easy to find, but it's very simple. And I feel like what you just said in regards to the practicality, but at the same time, the beauty, the attraction of this movement, the drama, the stories, the Leela, everything is answered, from cosmology to science to drama, to emotions, to attachment, to love and affection. Every single question that we have is not only answered, but giving a practical outlet. And this quote is very simple, but it says, all a soul needs is someone to love and something to do for that someone. So I think that as far as obliged to chant Hare Krishna, obliged to do something for that someone we love, capital S, capital L, that we are given someone to love and plenty to do. And what you just said, Prabhu, reminded me of that very simple, very pertinent, and very usable quote. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for that quote, Bhima Prabhu. It perfectly ties in with our philosophy. We need the someone we need is Krishna, and the things to do we need to do for Krishna. The things that we need to do is devotional service and Krishna. Wonderful Bhakti quote. Thank you. Okay, it's 8:01. Would anyone else like to speak in honor of Srila Prabhupada and his gift? See, by attending these classes, by offering Srila Prabhupada our attention in the morning before we do all the other things that are on our plate, is a sign of love. That's how we show love to Srila Prabhupada. We serve Srila Prabhupada with our mind and attention. It's a great service to hear Srila Prabhupada's words and discuss them. That's how we serve our ultimate spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, like Jeffrey Ekler Prabhu said. Srila Prabhupada is the ultimate spiritual master. Wonderful. Bruce Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Good morning. I'm not trying to speak for reflection. I'm asking for advice, Darshan.
Let's stay for the afterglow, please. I want to hear from Bruce Prabhu. Turn on your cameras, please, if you can. Hey, welcome to the Afterglow, everybody. Bruce Prabhu, please tell us.
So, as I was saying, I'm asking for advice, ideally from Adi, but I see that he's walking out of the temple, so perhaps somebody else can answer. I've recently met a woman, and we were discussing just spirituality, and she said to me, "Well, what is it that you do? Because you always come back to the same spot to take your motorcycle and leave." And I said, "I go to the temple around the corner." And she said, "That's very interesting." And she said, I would be interested in attending. And I said, "Okay, perfect." So my big desire to bring her to us and have her experience the Maha Mantra and Krishna. So fast forward, and she asked me to send her a kirtan. So I sent, like, as I was speaking, I'm learning harmonium. What is harmonium? And I explained to her, and she said, "Well, I'd like to hear this instrument and this sound." So I sent her Badahari kirtan, which is one of my favorites that I've cried to so many times. And she listens and says to me, "It sounds sinister." And she said, "This gives me bad feeling." And I was blown away. I was completely blown away because all I hear is just such beautiful, heart, deep felt emotion, again, to the point of tears. And so many times, it's one of my favorites. So I've listened to it so many times, but I don't want to give up. I don't want to allow her to keep walking in this dark path of just not being able to open up to Krishna. So I thought, and Ari's managed to bring so many people into the temple for morning Bhagavatam, motivate them that much. I was thinking, well, he must have the right tools to be able to attract this individual, so she does not continue down the conditions.
Okay, we have one suggestion before we let Adi speak. John of Harrison's kirtan, maybe.
Oh yeah, fair enough. Okay, all right, round two.
Because Genevieve Harrison also has a lot of experience making kirtans accessible to people who are super, super like brand new to Krishna consciousness and also are coming from it from like a yoga perspective. So she has a gentler energy. Like the kirtan that you're talking about, I know it's super sweet, but it's also really, really intense. And if you're not in the right space, it can seem aggressive, energetic. So I don't know that I would say, oh, this person's demonic, that they're having this reaction. It's just there's lots of different flavors of kirtans, and perhaps it's just a matter of finding which flavor would work for her. So I would stay in the state of curiosity where you can still be compassionate before you go into like the judgmental, like, oh no, like this person's going to go down the hellish road. Does that make sense?
That absolutely makes sense. Yeah, that's fair, because I was thinking, like, I'd like to be that instrument that pushes it away from that. But yeah, I mean, clearly she's open enough to want to try and attend, right? So that curiosity is there, and definitely my responsibility not to squash it. Beautiful advice. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, Adi Prabhu, please be balanced in your answer.
I couldn't say anything. That was perfectly, there's a variety of music, and even in the context of kirtan, there are varieties of kirtan, varieties of melodies, and, she could say, well, I'm not comfortable with this. That doesn't mean she's completely rejecting every form of the holy name. And it's good to remember that there are Shastric references that sometimes if we're in a jaundice condition, when we taste sugar cane, it tastes bitter. That's normal. you know. But sugarcane happens to be a healing prescription for somebody with a jaundice. And if you keep taking it, gradually the sweetness comes through. And if somebody is in darkness a long time, when you turn on the light, they're like, well, wait, what's that stuff? You know, they may not be accustomed to adjusting to the bright light. So, with just be gentle, and what she'll see is your sincerity, and definitely she's already have that attraction. So, yeah, Mataji explained it perfectly. I have nothing to add to that. Well, glories to
Balanced.
Was that balanced enough, Bruce?
Yes, very balanced.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes we can even ask, what kind of music are you into? And then we can tailor it a little bit for them.
Yeah.
And I can see how Badahari Prabhu can be labeled sinister. It's just Badahari Prabhu.
Nor I.
He's so
Definitely
serene.
nor I. Yeah, this is why I sent it, because to me it's just so powerful and beautiful. But I guess again,
Yeah,
as
see,
as she said, not the right mood.
That's how Krishna is working in your life. Krishna is teaching us how to be detached. We may think, oh, this is perfect, and then it doesn't work. In our sharing efforts, when we share bhakti, we should remember that it's between them and Krishna. We're just a tool, and we should be detached from the outcome. If the person sees that you are truly detached, then they will be less defensive and judgmental and prejudiced. If they see that detachment, and then if they see that we're genuinely wishing them well, in such a way, in a way that they can appreciate and relate to, then they will be more receptive. So Krishna is teaching us how to be detached. We have this. Sometimes we tend to think that, oh, it's up to me to bring this person to Krishna's lotus feet. We're not. It's not just. It's between them and Krishna. We should remember that, Bruce Prabhu. And
Thank you.
And your effort is glorious just because it's there. Regardless of the outcome, it's glorious, Bruce Prabhu. Thank you.
And Bruce Prabhu, sorry, as somebody in a women's body, I just wanted to give some quick advice in terms of talking to fellow women-bodied people. A lot of times, if you reflect back, then they will feel more heard, and they can take, some further suggestions or things like that. So if it comes up again, or even if you bring it up in conversation again, and you can say, like, I really appreciate that you took the time to hear this kirtan, and I understand that you didn't connect with it the way that I connected with it. However, I'm so grateful that you took the time to hear it. I would love for us to find a kirtan together that really connects with you. So you see, so you're acknowledging her feelings, you're acknowledging your feelings about the kirtan, and then you're kind of saying, like, let's do this together, and then you're setting like what you're going to say. Does that make sense?
Amazingly so. I did sort of pacify it where I said, I don't see it that way, which again is perhaps a bit harsh. But I absolutely respect your opinion that you can't hear. I said you can't hear something that moves you. And that's okay. And I respect that. So perhaps I got a little bit there, but I much prefer what you're saying. Thank you.
Bhima Prabhu?
I have one suggestion. The best friend of woman is woman. So perhaps it is best to bring her to a Thursday night kirtan and let her meet the other devotees, especially the other Matajis. She will resonate on a very basic level with them. And through that like-kindedness will be more open, especially as Damodar Priya said, Janavi Harrison, her kirtans are enjoyed by anybody. You could be a raven atheist and you will enjoy her bird-like singing. It's just automatically attractive. So we start sort of like the prasadam. Prasadam, a lot of us were brought to the movement through free prasad. free food. And we liked certain preparations. Halava was one of my favorite. And and there were certain other things I didn't particularly jive with, but halava was it. And I ate it until I was purified enough to actually, consider Krishna consciousness as a real thing. So it takes time. Be very, very patient, and also allow others to come in who may not, who may be more naturally connective to your person there. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Bhima.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thanks, everyone. Paul. Okay, hold on. Paul always says that he thanks Prashanam. He thanks Prashanam for bringing him to Krishna. Yes, me too, Paul. Yeah, that's. I'm still here because of the supply of Prashanam that never runs out by Srila Prabhupada's grace.
And can we say thank you to Bruce for being so vulnerable and sharing this with the group and just opening it up for everyone so that we can all support you? It's always really nice to hear from someone that's not like the core group of us that are always talking.
And also to hear personal experience as an adjunct to philosophy. It's everybody's ears perks up when Paul said, I would like some advice. I was like, I can't wait to hear what it is, something that we can do. Bruce, when Bruce said, I'd like some advice on it, and all of a sudden, the natural inclination is to listen.
I saw Bhima's camera started moving faster. He got excited. He's available for advice always.
Because I know everything. I love giving unsolicited advice. It's.
I love being here. I love being here every day.
Okay, happy Thanksgiving. Remember, when you go to your family, you are the ambassador of Bhakti in their life. That's it. Don't tell them, I'm not your whoever. Just be the ambassador of Bhakti. That's the mood. Remember, you represent Sampradaya, you represent Srila Prabhupada to your family. Don't screw it up. Be nice, be loving. You represent Bhakti. You represent Srila Prabhupada. Okay, Venetia is giving me thumbs up. Thank you, Venetia. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Jeffrey Eckler Prabhu for picking up such a nice class for us. Hog happiness. Damodar Priya, Bhima Prabhu, Bruce, Venetia, Whiskey, Yogeshwari, Arjuna Prabhu, Domi, Susan, Dan, Krishna's Radharani, Humanity at Large, Paula, Hare Krishna. Happy Thanksgiving.